So we're in Advanced Steel and we have the PowerPack for Advanced Steel from GRAITEC installed, and we're taking a look at the stair features. And one of those in particular is the total plate width control. And this is for stringers that are formed from section profiled plate. So this is a plate that is formed from one piece, laser profiled or plasma cut. And under that, we're going to take a look at this sub tab here, which forms part of the stringer, outer, and then side tab positioning. And we're going to look at how to control this total plate width. Now previously in here you would see a value that was generated by two values here, the top and bottom depths. These are the offsets from the nosing point on the top and the heel on the rear of the stair. So in order to change this, you would have to influence a measurement in here. So either by making a small change in there, you could round it up to a figure down in here. So this would automatically adjust in this cell. So you would have to work out what you needed to do in order to get to a suitable size that you may require as the user. So typically the plate sizes would come from a standard size flat rolled plate size. So by that I mean a section that can be bought and is pre-rolled in a mill. And typically the detailer would try and follow those kind of standard sizes available to make it easier for them to detail and also easier for the fabricator to follow, because it's not very easy to work with decimal measurements when working in a workshop. So before, the only option available was to enter in these two fields. So in this version we've changed the option, enabled this drop down box so you can set to top here. If you set this to top, it will work from the nose point of the stair. So that's the front point of the staircase. And then what you do, you can see here now that the total plate width field has become active for the user to make an entry in. So the user can make an entry into that field, and that is transferred into the stringer dialog. Here we can see that it's changed the value under here, and this has actually influenced this width of the stringer because we're on the outer side, this one. If we would come to the inner stringer, we would see this still remains set here because we don't have identical set, so it's not following the outer. But again, you can enable this by checking the box, and then the inner will follow the outer. So let's just go back to the outer a minute and focus on that again. So looking at that, we can also influence how the top landing element is aligned. So similarly, if you set this to top, the value that was set here will be transferred down into the total plate width field here, even though the field is grayed out at this moment in time. So let's just put the same offset in here to offset the plate, the landing above the landing plate, the stringer plate element. So we've just moved that up here, so this is now slightly raised above the landing element here. But also we can come in and we can influence what's going on with this total plate depth here by checking the box down there. And this gives the user the ability to override this element of the stringer. So for example, we may want to put a smaller size piece of plate in there to reduce it down because we don't need as much room to get the fixture underneath the landing. Or there may be a clearance problem in the design of the stair. So by doing that, you can influence what's going on, enabling these checkboxes. Similarly, if we decide up here we want to change how the stair is set out, we could set it out from the bottom. So that's now going to work from the rear portion or the heel of the tread. So again, you can influence what's going on here. So if you decide that you wanted to put the 20mm value in there, then obviously the corresponding field for the top depth will change again. At the moment we haven't influenced the total plate width, okay, and this is also in here. This is now sort of independent because we've overridden that value. But again, you could do a similar thing if you wanted to come to the bottom. You will see that the fields will change from the top depth to the bottom field being active. So you can have different combinations as you require, and also you can influence and override the actual landing elements in here as well. Now at the moment we're looking at this in the context of working within a single flight stair with a couple of landings enabled. If we come out of this macro and come into here, we can come into a multi-flight situation, which again, we have these tools available within the PowerPack under the different types of stair configurations that we have for single, triple, double, and different arrangements in L form, U form, Z form, etc. So again, if we come back in and take a look at this again, we can come in here, we can adjust the values in here as we require. And obviously you saw that you don't have to do them in a particular order. You can change how you influence what's going on here. So I'm just going to do both of these at once, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to set the values that I need. So I'm just setting the offset in there, and then I'm going back and I'm making the decision, oh, actually I'm going to make this stringer out of this size plate. So I'm now influencing what's going on. I'm also going to influence the fact that I do want my inner and outer elements to follow each other and be corresponding sizes. So I'm checking that and adjusting that within the macro makeup. So now we can see that that's followed through all the different flights in the stairs. Similarly, the same options are available for bottom and top and bottom as well within the configuration. And also you still have the override option here to override the landing plate width for the stringer. So this is this plate size in here. Again, I'm checking that box and I can change this back down to a smaller figure in here, and you'll see it adjust inside the model. And obviously if you didn't want to do that, if you wanted different stringer sizes on the internal and external, you can uncheck the identical stringer box there, and then you can see that it will change. So there obviously the sizes were influenced by what's going on. It's reverted back to what it was set originally. I hadn't made any changes on the inner stringer, but I'm now working independently on the inner stringer here. So again, I'm setting it here, setting my two values here, putting my offsets in as I require. And then similarly here, I'm just going to come back and I'm going to influence this total width. So let's make it a bit bigger so it's completely different to the other side. So you'll see that change in there. And then similarly, if I want to decide, well, actually I'm going to make the landing a bit smaller again. It doesn't need to be as big as that. So I'm going to enable that checkbox and I'm going to change my value in there back down to a smaller size. So depending on which combination you require, you can influence the inner and outer total plate width for the main flight stringers and also the landing elements as well. The landing elements can be independent of the flight. They can be made to be a different total plate width, and also you can influence inner and outer by using the identical stringer checkbox. So this should allow fabrication detailing for plate stringers in stairs and make it slightly easier for the detailer to round up those odd decimal sizes to be more of a standard size used within a typical workshop environment.